What's up, Kansas City? I'm Oprah Brown here with Mitchell Sudduth, promoter and owner of Show Me Showdown Entertainment. I said, what's up to Kansas City?
What's up, Kansas City? How you doing?
Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you got started as a promoter.
Oh, wow.
Jump right into it.
Kind of a story. I used to have my own business with the insurance business, and I ran into a couple of guys that I went to high school with, and they basically were trying to finish an album, a record. And matter of fact, shout out to David Warren. He's a producer.
Mm-hmm.
And so they approached me about helping them out finishing a record. And so I just kind of threw some money at them, and then they saw how I handled business for the most part, and they asked me to help them start a record label, and if I wanted to be a part of it. And so in starting the record label, long story short, in starting the record label, we ended up doing that, and we were doing shows with our artists, and we're bringing in other artists with the shows. And so eventually I got to the point where I said, you know what, I can just do this on my own and bring in artists on my own, you know, in terms of just promoting, you know, and making money. And so that's how it all started.
So this wasn't like a dream that you just wanted to be like this promoter in Kansas City?
No, not at all. It's just something that happened, you know, and, you know, these guys kind of pulled me into it. I studied the industry for the most part. And then studying the industry, basically it turned into me saying, wow, you can really make money at this, you know, not just in one way, but in multiple ways, you know. From the artistry side and the promotion side. So
So what consists of a promotion team? Like, what are the basic, you know, levels of promoting? Like, what does the team consist of?
Well, a lot of times, depending on what type of promoter you are, I'm an independent promoter, and so I am the team. I do have people that I contract in, and I consider them being my team. You know, such as street team. Such as people who handle my marketing, you know, radio, you know, TV affiliates, people that I work with every time I do a show. Even, you know, from a production standpoint, people who help me out with the show, stage manager, production manager, you know, all these different people. All these are components that you have to have in place to have a successful show, so you're not doing everything. Because when I first started out, I was doing everything, you know, and so I kind of paid my dues, learned the ropes of what was going on. I know pretty much what to do, how to do it. You know.
So what are some of the mistakes that you made that you could probably tell other promoters in Kansas City?
Oh, wow. One of the biggest mistakes I made was doing a show on a holiday weekend. That's a huge mistake. For a place like Kansas City, this is a kind of what we call a suitcase town. People go out of town on the holidays, or they're with their families. And so that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I made. I did. As a matter of fact, it was here. I did the first. It was down here on 18th and Vine. I did the first festival they ever had on 18th and Vine.
Oh, really?
Back in 2000. I want to say 2002. It was the 18th and Vine Labor Day Music Festival, and ended up. It was. I think I had on the bill that night. It was Dave Hollister.
Oh.
Dave Hollister, a guy named Mickey Vegas, and a guy named Bishop.
Oh, yeah.
Ernest Dixon, you know, people know him by Bishop Ernest Dixon, and he came out and did his thing. It was a good show, you know. I only had maybe, I'm going to say, I think it was less than 1,000 people that came.
Is that bad numbers? Because nowadays that would be considered good.
No, bad numbers. No, I mean it was, you know, it didn't really make a lot of money. You know, I lost a ton of money on that show, but you know, it was a learning experience.
Is there a lot of money in this promotion business?
Oh, it's a ton of money.
Like, how does one reach that level? Because, you know, here in Kansas City, everyone thinks, oh, you could just wake up one day, start promoting, and you just make a ton of money. Like, it takes hard work. Like, how does one reach that successful level?
Yeah, you know, Kansas City is one of those towns where people try to mimic what everybody else does.
Yeah.
And not saying that's wrong, because you got to start somewhere. But for the most part, you know, sometimes you can start this business and get in this business and have a good idea, and the first show out, I mean, you knock it out of the park. But then you think you can knock it out of the park on every show after that, and it doesn't happen that way. You end up losing on the next show. You know, some people that lost their house, their car, you know, had to sell the kids, the wife, and the dog. You know what I mean? And so I'm just saying that to say you just got to be careful. You know, a lot of times when people do this business, it's hard for them to get it out of their system because they see the dream of being able to make that money. And yes, money can be made, but you just have to look at what you're doing and study it. Study what's happening. So
how do you? How important is support from the inner city? You know, because like you said, you did it on a holiday, but people are here supporting. You know, how important is support?
Well, I don't want just to support it in the city. I want everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? I need everybody. You know, it's extremely important. You know, a lot of the shows that I do are more urban shows, and Kansas City doesn't realize what it really takes to put these shows on, and you need everybody's support in terms of coming out to the shows, because that's what helps you prepare for the next show.
Right.
You know, or at least have the dividends of funds to put towards the next show, and so. You know, a lot of times people call for tickets and things of that nature. You know, you don't want to be rude,
Right.
but at the end of the day, these shows cost,
Right.
and we're not talking little money. You know, the artist is going to get paid regardless
Right.
of whatever happens. But people just need to realize that, hey, this is a business. This is not just a good time. It's a business, but it's here for you to have a good time.
Right. So you have the ears of Kansas City and their eyes as well. So explain what it takes for, you know, you to run these events. Because they don't, you don't have to explain every detail. Y'all wake up and I'll book this. You know, you can just explain to Kansas City, like, the importance of, like, how hard you guys work and what it does take, you know, for you guys to put these events together.
Well, I mean, it's just a whole, I guess what I call my system in terms of what I do. It's just from beginning to end, yeah, the booking part, you know, dealing with the venues, dealing with TV and radio, setting all that up. People don't realize that you have to write scripts. All the stuff they hear on the radio just doesn't all automatically pop up on the radio and it's done. No, there's a script, a certain way it's got to be said and done. You know what I mean? It's got to be with the right people also.
Right.
And so a lot of times I hear radio commercials, I'm like, man, that's horrible. You know, people, it's not, it doesn't sound good to make people want to come to it. You know what I mean? And so you got to make it appealing for the people to want to come. And so that's a part of it. You know what I mean? The other part of it is assembling the people, putting the people in place that's going to help it run smoothly. Which, like we said, is the team, you know, production people, you know, so on and so on. People who really know what they're doing day of the show, who are not being, you know, quote unquote groupies or starry-eyed, wanting to hang out with the artist, trying to get next to the artist. You know, when I first started out, I had a few people like that. You know what I mean? For the most part, not everybody was like that. It's probably a couple people, you know. I even had a guy who one of the first biggest shows I did, he was a little bit angry because I didn't allow him to drive the star. He wanted to be next to the star, but you know, he was a guy who wanted to be a promoter also. Right. And so I'm like, well, look, that's the reason I really didn't want him there, because you know, the stars, when they come into town, they don't feel like talking to a lot of people. Right. They're trying to save their voice, number one. They don't want a lot of people talking to them because they're trying to concentrate on what they're trying to do, you know. But I mean, pulling all those people together, that's a part of it. Financially, I mean, that's a big deal, obviously. You know, sometimes I do it on my own. Sometimes I bring people in with me, you know, so to speak. But it's a lot of money involved with it. I mean, the average show is probably going to cost anywhere between $50,000 to $60,000. Right. That's a really good show. Right. You know, most of the shows I've been doing probably ranged about $70,000 to $80,000. You know, like Charlie Wilson, you know, Kim, Lettucey, Anthony Hamilton, people like that. Right. So yeah, I hope I didn't step on your toes. That's probably your next question.
No, and it was that was exactly my next question. Like, so what are some of the shows?
What a good segue. Huh?
Yeah, you can do the interview. I can just sit back and relax. But no, so what successful events, like you say, you have Anthony Hamilton and Charlie Wilson. What other events have you had in Kansas City that were really successful?
You know, actually, my first show I did was a step show. Me and a friend of mine, Roderick Burke, he lives in Texas now. But we did the Show Me Showdown National Greek Step Show. His from BET hosted it, or whatever. And it was probably, I mean, I think we probably had like 2,000 people at a step show at Hell Arena. Which back then you probably could get maybe a couple of hundred, maybe 500 people on, you know, tops. But we were advertising it on TV, radio, all kinds of things. And so it was really successful. Right. But that was something I did that was really successful. Charlie Wilson is always successful. Really good guy, really good people. Anthony Hamilton is, I mean, that guy is so cool. You know, the one thing I like about him was that he met everybody. Every time that I brought him here, he actually will stay at the end of the night and meet everybody that wants to meet him.
Oh, that's nice.
You know what I mean? So if you're at an Anthony Hamilton show, after the show, if you stick around, he'll come out, he'll meet you, he'll talk to you. So I don't know. T.I. show was pretty good. You know, we didn't really make any money on the T.I. show, but it was a success because of the show itself, and the amount of people that came out to see it.
Why do you think there wasn't much revenue generated from that show?
I think it was the first time I ever did a Sprint Center show, number
I
one.
see.
You know, and Sprint Center, I mean, it's a costly venue, you know what I mean, for the most part. But I don't know. That was probably the most people that ever came out to see T.I. I think we had a little bit over 6,000 people, almost 7,000 people that came out for that show. But for whatever reason, it just didn't do what we really thought it was going to do.
Right.
You know, I really, because to give you an example, I think we had a pre-sale, a 2-day pre-sale on that show, and the day it went on sale, we had 3,000 tickets sold automatically. And so I'm thinking to myself, man, this show's about to sell out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like this right here now. I'm like happy about it.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening, I mean, it sold, but it didn't sell that many. Somewhere between 6,000 and 7,000 seats or whatever.
Like, again, that number to people like me, we think that's a large number of people. Because, I mean, so Sprint Center
And it
is
is.
10,000 or something?
It holds 12,000
Yeah.
in a concert setting.
Well, that wasn't too bad. But if you didn't make any money, I guess, you know.
Right. So, and you hate doing these things for practice, but sometimes that's what happens. You know, you just have to retool and try to figure it out. But it was a good show. You had Future on there, T.I., B.O.B., 7th Streeter, Jackie Michaels was on there. You know, so it was a really good show.
And Jackie Michaels is one of your artists, correct?
Yeah, yes,
So
indeed she is.
explain what does she have going on at this time?
Oh, wow. She's doing a number of things. We're working on some things now, and it's probably going to put her on a tour that'll go to probably 7 or 8 cities.
That's good. We can bring
So-
Jackie Michaels here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we can get her on.
Get her to sing.
As a matter of fact, we probably need to do that for sure.
Yeah.
Jackie Michaels.
Yeah.
We'll make that happen. So,
You can also explain, because I know people always want, like, the hookup on tickets when you have these shows.
yeah.
Like, can you explain, like, what do you want to say about that?
Stop calling me about tickets. That's all I have to say about it.
Right.
That cost. I'll give you an example, because I remember one of the shows I did with Charlie Wilson. I ended up giving out 500 tickets. Now, granted, some of that stuff goes to radio because we do trade with the radio or whatever. Some of it went to radio, but 500 tickets equated to $25,000.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
The answer is no.
Right.
No more tickets.
No more tickets. Unless, like I said, I think we had this conversation before, unless you promote, like, put some work
Yeah,
in.
you
You
gotta
know,
do
you
something.
can't
You know, you
just
can't just-
want tickets.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I had people who called me about tickets and wanted tickets to the show, and somebody else bring another concert to town. These people standing in line to get their tickets, but when they know it's me, then you know they tend to want to, you know, ask me for tickets or whatever. So I have to politely now tell them no. It's all my shows now are no comp shows.
Right.
It's a business at the end of the day.
Right.
And those tickets, every ticket cost, every seat cost, you know, and so that's something I have to keep in mind.
Right. And this is what you do full time every day, or?
Yeah, I mean for the most part, you know what I mean. I work in marketing and advertising also, and so anybody need any advertising, any marketing, I can help you with that.
Right.
You know, websites, search engine optimization, you know, SEO, pay per click, you know, any of that kind of thing. You know, I can help you with that.
Can one book a celebrity through you?
Yeah, absolutely. I do bookings.
Okay, you do booking.
Yeah.
Can you explain also like the promotion, promoter celebrity relationship? Because everyone thinks, because you're the promoter, you're booking the show, that you automatically have this relationship with the celebrity, and then they want to give you their CD to give,
Right.
give to them. Can you explain that relationship?
Yeah, a lot of times people think that, but it's not always the case. Once again, it's a business.
Right.
At the end of the day, the artist is here to do a job.
Right.
So people have to realize that, and in the course of them doing a job doesn't mean making friends. Some of the people I made friends with,
Right.
still talk to them. 7th Street is a prime example of that. Still talk to those guys. Charlie Wilson, them still talk to them. You know what I mean? But not everybody's like that.
Right.
And I've seen situations where promoters are trying to hang out with the artists, not watching the box office, not watching the TL. Next thing you know, money's missing. You thought you had this amount of money, there's not that amount of money there. You're not watching what's going on because you're trying to hang out with the artists, and they end up losing.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, you got to keep your, like Snoop said, you got to keep your mind on your money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do you have people that claim your shows?
Oh yeah. Hey, it doesn't matter to me. I have people do that all the time. Oh yeah, I'm working on that show. Yeah, we're doing this show or whatever. It's cool. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
A lot of times I don't even want people to know I'm doing the show.
Yeah.
Once again, and that helps me because then they won't ask me for tickets.
Right.
I think people are getting smart though.
Yeah.
Because they hear the commercial and say that sounds like something Mitchell would do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And most of the stuff that's coming here right now, I'm doing anyway.
Yeah.
Not to brag or anything, but just a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because I have access to those people.
Right.
And they know me as a reputable promoter, so they want to do business with me.
I mean, we appreciate you bringing this entertainment to the city because, I mean.
Well, I need everybody to appreciate it. I need them just to buy tickets. Even when you think you want to go or are considering going, please buy tickets because this stuff costs at the end of the day. And the only way I can keep doing it is if Kansas City or whoever's supporting the shows that I bring. So.
Right. So also, I mean, what advice can you get to the promoters now? Because I know you see their works around the city. What are some advice that you can give to them?
I would say just to study what's going on around you. A lot of times what happens is that people want to do this business, but they don't understand the traffic game and what's happening here. There's a lot of larger things happening outside of just what they hear in the city on the radio at that point. There's been times where I would have a show that I'll start promoting, not realizing that there was another tour that was already booked to come here. And it drops right on top of your show and puts your show in a tailspin. Yeah. So now you're scrambling trying to sell tickets or whatever. But at this point now, with the people that I'm aligned with, like AEG, and I talk with some of the guys from Live Nation and Jeff Fortier at Mammoth. We just I think I've built up enough of a reputation now where it's a respect game.
Right.
And they see what I do, they respect what I do because they see it's on the level. They feel like I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And dealing with the AEG, I mean, they pretty much, at the Midland or whatever, they respect me enough to say, okay, what are you doing? What do you want to do next? We've got this on the table. What do you think about this? So they kind of value my opinion right now. Right. I'm I guess useful right now.
Right.
So with that being said, I tell those guys just do your homework. Make alliances. I think it's gotten to the point now where even some of those guys, those promoters, other promoters here in town, they call me. And now I'm having other promoters outside of the city call me and say, hey, what are you doing? I don't want to get in your way, but, what are you doing? Maybe we can collaborate on some things. It's funny because this past year I've had a lot of that happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And it's good that people want to collaborate because, in our city, it's more, we all view it as crabs in a barrel, everyone's trying to, overstep each other. But if they want to work together, I feel like that's, that's a good thing. That's, more kudos to them for trying to, get with you. That is a respect thing. I mean, they see your works. They see that you're doing something out here in the city.
Right.
So I know you don't want people to call you, but how can they contact you? How can they get in touch with you or reach you?
No, they can call me. People can call me. It's not a big deal. They can email me or call me.
Just don't ask for tickets.
Yeah, but what would they be calling me about? That's the question. Right. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Well, can one call you to say they want to help invest on a show that you have?
Yeah, I'm open to that, depending on which show it is. You know what I'm saying? I will talk to people about it, and we'll figure it out. Sometimes people don't realize the magnitude of investment it takes for this. And I had a guy who called me, I ran into a guy the other day and said, oh man, yeah, you Mitch, huh? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's me. I heard about you, man, So, he just went on and on. And so he said, I've been thinking about doing this, man. I really want to kind of get into this. And, I said, well, I might have some projects coming up, I'll shoot some things your way and, see if you want to get involved. I think once I shot him the proposal and everything, not to change his mind, but he realized, man, well, maybe this is a little bit more than what I thought it was, you know what I mean, in terms of the investment part of it,
right.
So it's not, back in the day, you probably could have got away with maybe, $2,500, $5,000 doing a show, but it's not that way anymore. It's only because the artists are asking for so much money to do these shows now. And so that's part of it. And so that's why the numbers are so high with this stuff.
And I feel like a lot of people will make money not off your shows, but because you have shows. Because when you bring talent to the city, that gives people a reason to have a after party or an event. Do you feel like sometimes after parties, sometimes try to sync in with your events or try to feed off your events?
Yeah, we have those issues. That happens quite often. Kansas City is just a town that, they basically, you put a show. I remember we did the Trey Songz show, and these guys said they had an after party. They actually had Trey Songz picture. They took the same concert after party and made it the, made it the after party flyer. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. That's going too far.
Right.
And so people, you know, that's when the legal gets into place. You know,
Right.
people, you know, it kind of starts hurting the show. But for that particular show, it was almost sold out, so it didn't matter, but
Right.
it mattered. You know what I mean?
I guess that's where
Kansas City people have got to stop doing that. That's old school promoter, club promoter stuff, and they got to stop doing that. They got to realize, you know, if you keep taking bricks from a building, eventually it's gonna fall.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? And that's like taking a brick every time. You know they do that, and you know it's gonna make it bad for the show.
Right.
Yeah, matter of fact, we just ran into that on another show we forgot. You know, somebody promoting the after party and had to shut it down. You know, and I don't mean no harm by doing that, but the fact of the matter is when you got a show you're trying to promote, you're trying to get ticket sales, once again it hurts the show.
Right.
So, but that happens a lot in Kansas City.
That's very unfortunate.
You know, it'd be better if the promoters the club guys would just call the promoters and say, hey, let's work something out.
Yeah.
If they do it that way, then it's a possibility of it could happen.
Right.
But when you just bootleg it and try to, you know, like, hey, I'm doing this or whatever, you know, nah, you got to cut it out.
Right.
You got to cut it out.
Is there anything else you want to say to Kansas City?
I don't know. Yeah, I got a couple of shows coming up here. We got Young Jeezy coming up here August the 13th. That's going to be a really good show. Mm-hmm. He's coming to kill. He's actually on tour with Wiz Khalifa, Mac Wild, and I think Ty Dolla $ign and some other people. But he's going to be here in Kansas City. He's coming in from St. Louis, going to do the show here and head down to Dallas. Also, we got New Edition. Definitely Kansas City, you need to come check that show out. All the guys will be here, the fellas will be here for that show. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike, and Johnny, you know. So, you know, New Edition, man, y'all better get these shows. These are good shows, you know. Come check them out. And then I got another show just put up, it's Donnie McClurkin and Fred Hammond.
Oh, that's good.
You know, and that's going to be at the Music Hall. New Edition show is July 22nd. Young Jesus, August 13th. And Donnie McClurkin and Fred Hammond is September 19th. www.axs.com for New Edition and Young Jeezy show. Or you can buy them at the box office. You buy them at the box office, no service fees on the tickets. Or you can go for the Fred Hammond show, you can go to the box office, which is at the Music Hall. It's at the Music Hall. So, or Ticketmaster.com. So check us out. You know, trying to do it for Kansas City, trying to keep them coming. We need your support with these shows. Just think about it. If somebody like me is not bringing these shows, then Kansas City says there's nothing to do around here. Mm-hmm. Right now, Kansas City's got plenty to do. You know, a lot of shows coming into town. Support somebody. Right.
You definitely have us covered for the summer. I'm Oprah Brown, and visit other videos at whatsupkansascity.net for other exclusive videos, and also check out his website.
Kansas City?
Yeah. Peace out, Kansas City.